What if I told you that living a life filled with joy and fulfillment didn't require having a rigid plan, but simply trusting your authentic desires? Ina Garten's new book is a masterclass in just that. Creating a life you love by following your true self, step by step. Today I'm going to dive into some of the most key points from Ina's book and show you how to do exactly what she did so you too can live what I call your elegant life. And if you're new here on this channel, my name is Erin Kurt and I am a spiritual teacher and founder of The Elegant Life who empowers women just like you to self-actualize and live the life of your dreams in this lifetime. So if that topic interests you, click the subscribe button and let's get started. One of the first points that Ina made in her book was the conditioning that her parents gave her in the beginning part of her life. Her mother had a very specific idea as to what a woman's role in life was. And so she would tell Ina what to wear, what to eat, what not to eat, how much to eat, what she needed to do, and who she needed to be, basically. And then her father on the other side was showing her and teaching her what success looked like, what accomplishment and prestige looked like. And that's all he focused on. And so every night at the dinner table, he would go around and ask everyone, what did you accomplish today? And she said, anytime that I mentioned something that, I did that brought me joy, he would say, that's not an accomplishment. So can you see how this conditioning and this training, the only things that are important are things like outside validation, prestige, the things that everybody can see on the outside. That conditioning can wear you down. And so she got a job in the government in the nuclear energy sector. I mean, it didn't take her long to feel completely unfulfilled, very unhappy, and extremely bored. And so she was sharing this with her husband, and he said, look, find something you love and see if you like it. Try it. And this is what we women are so fearful of because we've been raised in the society and we've been told and conditioned as to what is important. And if we try something and it, quote, fails or isn't a success in the way that the society conditioned us to believe, then we're not going to do that. We're not going to risk feeling like that or looking like that. And what I give my private clients permission to do, what I gave myself permission to do, and what I want to give you permission to do now is to define for yourself what an elegant life really means to you. And this takes some journaling, some thinking outside of our conditioning. It takes asking yourself, if money were no object, what would I be doing? How would I be living my life? What would I be enjoying? And start there. Because so many women who come to me have a book that they've always wanted to write, and yet, what if it doesn't? What if it isn't? And I say, and what if it isn't? You get to choose what that means. And that takes some inner work. Yet isn't it just enough that if you feel a calling to write a book, you just try it. You see how you like it. We all have this idea of what writing a book will feel like. And after you do it, you might think, wasn't that great actually? Okay, got it out of my system, right? And so I want you to try something. Write the book, start the YouTube channel, try the different job, have a little something on the side while you keep your 9 to 5. Try it, be curious about it. I've had a client that just did not know what she wanted to do. And when I gave her this advice, I said, just get curious about something. What are you wondering about? What do you wonder about? And so we kind of brainstormed for a bit. And so she took a course, and that's made her stumble upon an opportunity where there was a local magazine based on that topic, and they asked her to write for it. And so she was so excited, so she did that. And then that led to her doing something else. And She's got a beautiful career now that is in the coaching industry that isn't in an area specifically as to what she got curious about in the beginning, but all of the experiences that came from that's what she bases her coaching on. And so we have to start, So I want you to deep dive into this. Number one, define what your version of success means and what your version of an elegant life would look like and feel like, okay? That's the first step, because we have to stop living our lives for other people. This next point I absolutely loved because I identified with it so much. She said that her father would say something repeatedly to her, "You'll never be satisfied." And again, the way that we're raised is that we decide what we want to do, we go get educated to do it, and then we do that for the rest of our lives. I mean, where is there space for growth, development, curiosity, self-actualization? Where is the space for that? I had one client in Dubai who felt very shameful and guilty that she kept changing her business. And she said, do you think that's okay? Do you think that's right? And I said, of course it is. I mean, how fun is it that you tried this and then you tried this and then you tried this? Eventually, you will land on something that resonates so deeply that you will do that for an extended period of time. But you know what? Our nature is wired to be ever expanding. That is one attribute of source energy. And because we are an expression of source energy, we hold that attribute within us too. So yes, when we get here, we'll enjoy it, but eventually we'll be tapped on the shoulder. I want even more, or I want something even better. And instead of making ourselves feel guilty, because that is some huge conditioning, you shouldn't want more. Stop asking for more. Be grateful for what you have. We need to change that and remember what we are. We are source energy. And we have the attribute of ever expanding. And we will never feel whole or fulfilled if we stick with one thing and we stay there and we do that same thing for the rest of our lives. Never. Ina Garten said something amazing in an interview I recently heard. She said, I didn't want what he wanted me to have. It wasn't that I wasn't satisfied with things. I wasn't satisfied with what he wanted. I'm always satisfied with what I want to do. I want to use my drive and my creativity to do what I want to do, not what any guy or society wants me to do. I loved that. I just loved it. So this is really showing that the only reason that she is where she is today in a totally fulfilling and abundant life is because she rejected that conditioning. And I think we all have to get a little bit more rebellious in our own lives, not in an angry way, but in I'm taking control of my life. I'm deciding what this means. I'm deciding who I am. I'm deciding what my life looks and feels like. So we have to get in that creator energy and get in the driver's seat of our life and stop letting what others want us to do or who they want us to be and start living our truth. That's when you are set free. I love a quote that I just put on my Instagram the other day that George Lucas said. He said, we're all living in cages with the door wide open. I loved that. We literally are keeping ourselves in the cage, and no one is going to give you permission to get out of it but yourself. So go for it, girl. Fly out of that cage and let's have you self-actualize. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about that I think is really vital, especially for those of you who are like me, who are over 50, or maybe even if you're over 40, we have a fear that it's too late to start something. And what I loved was that Ina Garten sold the Barefoot Contessa little cafe that she had. And at 51, she thought, I don't know what I want to do next. Like, I have no idea. And she said, I thought that the best part of my life had been lived. Like she genuinely thought that, okay, I did something amazing. Okay, I think that's going to be the story of my life. And I think that's what a lot of us can fall into. We can feel like, who's going to want to read a book from me at this age? Who's going to want to see, I don't know, if you want to start a beauty channel from a 50-year-old. Who's going to want to? And we really dim our light and we turn off the switch of our dreams, and then we sit there and we feel lost. We feel not valuable. Like there's a lot of thoughts that can start going on. I know even for me, I have such dreams, and yet sometimes I think, oh goodness, that's a big dream to have. And yet I keep reminding myself that if that dream is there, then it is meant to be fulfilled in some way, whether it be the whole grand picture or a piece of it, I don't know, but it is there for a reason, and it's up to me to investigate what that's about, you know? And I need to start refuting the voice in my head that's telling me that it's too late in the game. And sometimes the way that I do that is by looking at the stories of Louise Hay, who started her publishing company when she was in her 60s. Also, Ina Garten, her whole life opened up at this point in time at 51. What she did was she said, I have no idea what I want to do next. And again, her wonderful supporting husband said, well, you love food, just do something different with that. And she thought about it and she said, well, people always were asking me to do a cookbook. I don't know. Well, it's something to do. So she said, while I figured out what I was going to do next, I did that. See, she followed the nudges. She followed the little breadcrumbs. The only thing she said was, I knew that if I was going to do a cookbook, I needed to do it my way. And there was a publisher who she was working with, and they really wanted the book to look a certain way and the photographs to be a certain way and the whole vibe and feel of the cookbook to be a certain way. And she was just like, no, that's not what I feel. That's not what I see. And she wasn't able to have her creativity be a part of it. So they went back and forth, and the publisher just wouldn't budge. So she said, I hired a photographer. I hired my own publicist. I decided on every recipe that I wanted and the style and the look of it. And I put a lot of money into it. It would have been a real expensive experiment. I only want to do things that I have the drive and the creativity for. And so she did it. And we all know what happened after that. And the thing is, she said, I have to tell you, I never had a plan. I just kept doing the next thing, which led to the next thing, which led to the next thing, which led to the next thing. But it all started with her allowing herself to be curious, you see? So if I could inspire any of you after you watch this video, number one, I want you to define what success looks like. Put away every concept that you have learned. And if money were no object, what would your daily life look like? What would your job be, if any? What creative pursuits would you be doing? Anything. Just write it down, okay? No one's judging you. No one's saying that's not possible. Just get it out and be so brutally honest with yourself. This is the first step. And the second thing is to remember that the whole goal of your entire life is to actualize what you were created to be. That potential resides within you, and you just have to fly out of that cage and allow yourself to be curious, to see how you like it, to try it, and have zero expectations as to any result. Let's put an X for further now, that anything we do creatively has to have an accomplishment to it. That is not the way to a happy, fulfilling, rewarding, abundant life, okay? What I have seen in my own life is that the more and more I surrender into who I am and do things from the essence of who I am, the more successful and the more impact that I have in my work and in my life. So ladies, I really recommend you get this book. For ease, I'll put a link to it in the description box below, and make it an elegant, authentic week. And I'll see you next time.